That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
All you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 93. I am one of your co-hosts, Floyd, your Floyd and Xavier Johnson. And we have with us, as always, Silky Dave Brown. How are you doing today, Dave?
Smooth. Very smooth. How are you?
I am well. Chilly morning here in Oklahoma City. Into April, and we're rocking the 50-degree weather. And that's supposed to be like the high for the day.
Yeah.
Wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, I've got my flannel on right now. I about froze this morning when I did my morning walk. But, it's if my choice is between this and 105, I will take this every day and 3 times on Sunday, which it does happen to be Sunday right now, but I didn't mean for that to happen in my analogy there. But yeah, I will take cold any day of the week over hot.
Well, did you get not wrestling? Did you watch any good non-wrestling related TV this week?
You know what's funny? No, I have discovered this new podcast, or new to me. It's called The Album Club, and it's these 3 guys from Australia, and they just talk about a different record each episode, and they go like track by track breaking down. And the first one I heard, which was their latest episode, was on Pearl Jam's Versus, which is my favorite Pearl Jam record. And I was like, wow, this is really good. So I started skimming through, seeing what else they had, and I listened to a couple other ones that were either bands I liked.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of cut out there.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
making sure you're still there. No problem.
Still here. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, I was skimming through and listened to a few episodes of bands or records that I liked, or at least knew. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to start from the beginning and listen to all of these. And there's some stuff on there that I don't like. And in fact, there's one that I'm probably going to skip. That is the episode about Korn, because fuck those guys. But I listened to the episode about Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, and it was fascinating. So every spare minute I have had this week has been spent with my earbuds in, listening to this podcast obsessively. So yeah, I'm really bad about becoming an obsessive fan. When I get into something, like I will, hunker down and the world stops. It's just like if I start watching Alias, man, the Earth has stopped spinning until I see all 5 seasons. So yeah. How about you? Did you see any good TV this week?
I was going to talk about it, my friend Noel. We did kind of a TV show swap. He watched, what was it called? Master of None on Netflix. At my suggestion, that is a really good show if anybody wants to watch it. It's very funny, starring Aziz Ansari. But I, being the horrible friend and welcher that I am, have not went up on my bargain until this week. I started watching Fargo. I actually had to be reminded because I had completely forgot that I had promised to watch Fargo. So I watched the first episode of Fargo. And if for all you don't know, Fargo was a dark comedy. Yeah, it was, I didn't like it. I was like, what the crap does he have me watch it? So I watched, but you know what? I am of the opinion, I don't know where you are, before I could decide truly on a TV show whether it is good or bad, you get 3 episodes. That's always been my number.
That's a very fair way of looking at things. Unless you just watch something and it just offends you so much that you can't watch it again, 3 episodes is you should be able to get a good sense of the show, where it's going and everything within 3 episodes. So yeah, I think that's a very, very fair way of doing it. I have not seen Fargo. I have seen the movie Fargo, which had one Mr. Steve Buscemi that came out in the 1990s, which is fantastic, but I have not seen the show. I've heard good things. Do you know, is it...
I will say, I never saw the movie.
Okay.
I asked did you need to watch the movie to watch the show. And they were like, no, because the show is an anthology. Each season is a whole different story. This season, the stars are Billy Bob Thornton and Martin Freeman. So
wow,
you got some pretty big names there. And it's, around the second episode, I was like, okay, this is getting a little better. Third episode, I wouldn't say I was hooked, but I had decided, okay, this is good enough for me to finish the season as promised. By the sixth episode, I'm completely enamored in this show, and I'm going to actually probably finish it today.
Nice.
So really, it takes turns, and it reminds you at the beginning of the show that this is a true story, and like the names have been changed to protect the people in it. But other than that, it's a true story. I don't know if that's just kind of like part of the story or if it actually is a true story. I don't know. I didn't look it up at all. I'm just completely enamored in this show right now.
Very nice. Yeah. I've heard great things about it, and the folks who are the showrunners are also the people who are doing Legion right now. I think Legion's on FX. But that is, that show that's an X-Men show. So if you like Legion, if you like Fargo, it's the same people who are making Legion.
Well, I don't understand Legion. I watched the first episode again. I'm going to continue to watch it because I've learned my lesson about the first episodes. I watched the first episode. I truly couldn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, I think the way that it has been described most often is a mindfuck. And it kind of gets more that way as it goes on, I've heard. I mean, it's only like 6 episodes, 6 or 8 maybe, so it's not a gigantic investment to watch the entire series or entire first season. That having been said, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, if I don't understand a show, if I'm not getting some type of linear prospect, I won't keep watching it. So,
and that's fair. And I think in that show, a lot of it is the main character doesn't realize that he's a telepath, and so a lot of it is shot from kind of how he sees things, and it's because he doesn't know that he's hearing things from other people's minds, and so it's just apparently very strange. I'm probably not going to watch it, to be honest, unless at some point over the summer if I run out of other things to watch, but I've already kind of committed to watching Stranger Things this summer. My son keeps telling me how awesome it is, and I've heard it's great. But actually, the one thing I have been watching, the kids and I have been watching 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, and oh my God, it is so good. It is so dark. It's like, it hits you in like the gut, like so hard, it knocks you over. And it's so good though. The acting is amazing. The writing is incredible. I can't say enough good things. We're about to watch the last episode. We'll probably do that later tonight. But that has been a tremendous show. So if you have not watched 13 Reasons Why, unless you are in a very dark place, I don't suggest watching it because it could possibly set you over the edge. Because it is real stinking dark, but man, is it good.
All right, well, for all of your fans, I'm just going to let you know, don't be surprised if you get a few minutes of TV talk at the beginning of every episode, because I liked it last week. It just adds to let you know that although we are obsessive wrestling fans, well, I am addicted to wrestling, unfortunately, but we do watch other things. So we just kind of give you a glimpse into our TV watching patterns.
Definitely. And, I have to admit, that's something I enjoy from a lot of my favorite podcasts, especially a lot of the wrestling podcasts I really, really like. I like it when they go on tangents and talk about other stuff. I just find that really interesting.
I completely agree. It is, like I said, There are hundreds of wrestling podcasts, and I thank everyone that takes the time to listen to ours. And if this TV talk is completely turning you off of our show, please message us and let us know that. But you know what? We just try to get a glimpse of the people outside of the wrestling fans.
There you go, exactly. Now, speaking of wrestling, which apparently I made a good choice this week and didn't watch, based on what you told me before we jumped on the air. It was a poor week on the TVs.
Yes. Yeah. I found NXT was clearly the best show, and which is funny because I was actually at these tapings. This is the last week of tapings that I attended, so I actually didn't watch it live. I heard what about it, and I heard there was a good segment on the show, so I went back and watched that one segment. But because I'd seen the matches, I didn't go back and watch the show. But as per usual, we will start with our recap of Raw. And let me just say this. I gave Raw a C. But looking back and actually, it wasn't watchable, I honestly say it was a D, maybe an F. It wasn't a very watchable show. You got Braun, and let me just say this. Braun is my favorite part. Braun is me bowing down and telling Vince McMahon, guy, pushing the big guy because he's watchable actually does work. Braun, you look at him and he automatically makes you focus on him. He's just so big and he's so ripped. I've seen big guys, big shows, the Matt Morgans, all those people. But the fact that he is so big, he is so thick, and he is so ripped, just you literally can't take your eyes off of him when he's out there.
Yeah, he is. They have really done, for all the complaining that I think a lot of folks who pay attention to wrestling, especially folks that consider themselves wrestling fans and not WWE fans, for all the pissing and moaning we do about things WWE does wrong, because often there is more wrong than right, they're really doing the right thing with Braun Strowman. Once he was separated from the Wyatts, and he started to stand out on his own. Well, first of all, he has progressed in the ring, I think, far greater than anyone ever expected. He can actually go. He made matches with the Big Show good. And in this day and age, that is not an easy prospect. He's this ominous dude. And at first, I don't know. At first I saw him, I was like, oh, this guy's got a cute baby face. I didn't see him as scary, because way back when we did a top 5 guys that we think would legit kill you, you had him on your list, and I didn't, because I'm like, yeah, he's fucking Sasquatch, but he doesn't. He's got this baby face, and now I look at him like, I do not want to be near you ever, because just your look will kill me. And he's really good. He's got this presence. He is so over. I know and we're going to get to our payback predictions here in a little bit. So I have a bad feeling what's going to happen. He's going to hit a Samoan brick wall, and don't even get me started on that. We'll talk about that later. But they're doing such a good job with him, and the clips I've watched from this week with him and everything, he's just awesome. And they found a guy. This was not a dude. My understanding, he wasn't a huge wrestling fan. He was he was one of those guys they found, and they were like, hey, you're gigantic. You want to be a wrestler? And he went, okay. And he has just taken to it like a fish to water. And
he trained in the Performance Center less than 6 months, and he was on TV.
Well, and also he was a Rosebud for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's one of the few guys who did go through the Performance Center. He's a Performance Center creation product, yeah. And he never worked in NXT, at least not on NXT TV.
But look at that guy. He is not an indie guy.
No, No, and especially if NXT is now basically a super indie run by a major corporation, which essentially is what it is, you don't have a guy like Braun Strowman in there. But he fit perfectly at the time with the Wyatt family. It was a good way to bring him in to keep him, keep his greenness from being too obvious as he works some big programs with some other guys. And then this brand split has done wonders for him. I think he is one of the great success stories of this brand split. Him and AJ Styles, I think, are the two people who have benefited more than anyone else. I mean, The Miz has also benefited. We'll see how much he continues to benefit on Raw. But, Braun Strowman is this huge success, and really the sky's the limit with this guy. He could... I mean, here's the thing. It's your guys who, like, one of the podcasts I listen to every week is the Voices of Wrestling flagship show. And these guys really, overall, are not fans of WWE. They're your hardcore wrestling fans, big-time fans of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They watch everything. That's one of the reasons why I like their show, is they talk about everything. But they love Braun Strowman. When you get the markiest of the marquee guys, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean, I'm just talking someone who is so in the bubble of pro wrestling-dom, and when they're going, this dude is freaking awesome, you have hit gold. Because if you can turn those guys around and to say, this is awesome, you need to watch this guy, then you are easily going to get the casual fans to go, whoa, look at this dude. He's gold, and... I shudder to think that he is going to just be there to try to make Roman look strong.
And that's what I think he has surpassed that. You'll hear my prediction later, but I think he's past that. And I think not only... I don't think anyone can deny at that point. He is past the point of just being someone to feed to someone else. He has money in his future.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have to change his personality at all, because he's a heel face right now. He's a bad guy, but he gets cheered. His T-shirt is sold out to May 27th. I think that's the earliest you can get a T-shirt now, and
it's sold out quick.
Yeah, and it's sold out quickly, and it's like people are still ordering it, even though they're not going to get it for like a month now.
And here's my hope, is that Vince McMahon sees that, and that is something that finally breaks through his Roman Reigns rose-colored glasses. Because so far, nothing has gotten through to him that Roman Reigns is not the super uber guy that he wants him to be. Roman Reigns is going to have a very long, very good Randy Orton-level career. He is never going to get into that stratosphere of special attraction of, Brock Lesnar, John Cena kind of thing. Braun Strowman can easily be the next Brock Lesnar. Easily.
The problem with this is Vince has decided he is right. And the worst part is fans are making him right. Roman's still number one in merchandise. He still gets the loudest reaction. Until he gets Apollo Crews' reaction, it's not going to change.
Well, it's easy to be number one in merchandise when you have more merchandise than anyone else. I get that point. I do. I definitely get that point. But I can put out a lot of Apollo Crews merchandise. It's not going to sell. People are buying Roman Reigns merchandise, and it all looks the same. Yeah, it's not very cool looking at all.
Exactly. So people like Roman Reigns. The vocal minority, which is us, we might not, love him. I don't hate the guy. I hate how he's used. I've always said that very clearly. I don't hate Roman Reigns. I hate how he's used.
Exactly.
I think he can be used to put on way more entertaining television. I think it would be more entertaining as a heel.
Yeah, and in fact, this isn't going to happen, but if they use this Braun Strowman situation as Braun beats him soundly, destroys him, and he gets, and Braun gets super cheered, and people start maybe even throwing trash at Roman, and he comes out the next night and snaps and goes heel, he could still be salvaged if Vince would change the way they book him. And now, granted, there's Dave Meltzer, and I wanted to talk about this last week, and I forgot to bring it up, but Dave Meltzer, in a recent Wrestling Observer, made this point, and the guys on Voices of Wrestling talked about it as well, that WWE booking doesn't matter, because whether or not Jinder Mahal, for example, is main eventing a pay-per-view will not affect whether, how many people subscribe to the network. There are going to be very few people that go, Jinder Mahal's main eventing a pay-per-view? Screw this. They're not getting my $10 every month anymore. Cancel. That's not going to happen very often. So day-to-day, like minutia booking, week-to-week, month-to-month, isn't really that important. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that, but it's...
Oh, no. I have used it to make the same argument. I've used it to make an opposite argument. That every show you could take your writers and take the talent and focus on just telling the best story, because people are going to watch wrestling or not watch wrestling no matter what. And if you tell an interesting story, like let's say at WrestleMania this year, let's say they went with that the matches that we heard previously before the whole John Cena engagement thing. And it's like, well, we don't have anyone to draw. Well, you don't really draw at WrestleMania. People are going to go to WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania. It doesn't matter what the matches are. So I feel that way, not in general. I feel like if you told a really good story, like the Stone Cold story, I always use that as an example because I know a lot of people that were away from wrestling or away from the WWF at the time and came back because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know a lot of people that had switched to WWF and went back to WCW because of Goldberg. So it's that simple. If you make storylines that are compelling, that gives wrestling fans the reason to talk about wrestling to their non-wrestling friends, you will just tell a good story. People will get over or not get over based on you telling a good story. You don't have to try to get anyone over.
Exactly. Yeah. See, on the one hand, I completely see where Meltzer's coming from, and from Vince's point of view, I think that's kind of Vince's point of view at this point. I think, though, the problem is they are leaving tons of money on the table, because if you had better, compelling stories and it was a program people really wanted to watch every week, then your hardcore fans like us would tell our former friend, our friends who used to watch wrestling back in the day, or who might like it, dude, you really need to check this out. Here, come here, watch this.
Yeah, they're telling a really good story.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm like. Wrestling and the physicality is great, but with as much as they're actually toning down the physicality to meet with their PG-13 crowd, you really need to focus on the story.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that we agree and disagree with Meltzer on this point. We see completely where he's coming from, and that's kind of the reality of the situation. But we both think if they focused more on booking and storytelling, they would be a lot more successful. Do you think that's a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, because like I said, it's just at the point where most people buy their WrestleMania ticket 6 months before the show. Any matches are decided on the show. The only match we knew last year when I bought my ticket was Shaq and the Big Show, and that didn't even happen.
Exactly.
And I still bought my ticket because it's WrestleMania.
Right, and it just, like, think with a guy like Roman Reigns, circling this back to him, if they tweaked what they're doing with him, turned him heel, let him be this badass heel, to the point where the fans started to go, oh, wait, you know what? Back when he was in the Shield, we actually liked this guy before he was shoved down our throat, and they start cheering him again, and he gets over more organically. Sure, yeah, he's selling a lot of T-shirts now. Imagine how many T-shirts he would sell if more people actually liked him other than kids and women and moms who think he's hot. Because right now, for the most part, when you look at the crowds, who is wearing Roman Reigns T-shirts? Kids, the same ones who are wearing John Cena shirts, and ladies. Because, I mean, he is a beautiful man. Let's be honest. There's no lying about that. So, if you want to get beyond that, if you want to get to a bigger demographic than just that, you turn him heel, you make him a badass, you make him a destroyer, and then let him slowly become a face again, and boom, it'll work. Stone Cold Steve Austin had to go heel before he was face. You know, sometimes The Rock, better example actually. That's The Rock was loathed. The Rock had, I mean, he got die Rocky die chance, and then he went heel. He turned on the crowd, and now he is anytime he shows up in any arena, the place loses its freaking mind because he's the freaking Rock, and he's an anomaly. He's something truly special. Roman Reigns will never be that, but Roman Reigns would get much better reactions if they let it happen naturally. Just think about that. The 2014 Royal Rumble when it came down to him and Batista, and the crowd was really wanting him to win, partially because he's not Batista, but also because he was on the rise and it seemed organic. That Rumble where he threw out more people than anyone else and he broke Kane's record, it was like, watching that, you went, oh, holy shit, this guy's the real deal.
And if you really wanted to make Roman Reigns a face, you only had to make him feud with one person. There's only one person that people hate more than Roman Reigns. John Cena.
That's true. And
if initially that was the big feud, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Roman Reigns didn't have to be a heel. It could have been both faces. And Roman Reigns beat the holy hell out of John Cena, he'd be over as a face now.
Oh, yeah. And you remember when they had some interplay at one point, and a crowd was chanting Cena sucks, and Roman Reigns said, yeah, when I'm in this ring, you're damn right Cena sucks. And it was just something off the cuff, and that was awesome. And that was actually back when he was doing terrible, those Hickory Dickory Dock promos. Even though I have to admit the Suffering Succotash one cracked me up when he looked at the camera and winked. But I digress. So what else, before we continue with another 30-minute diatribe on Roman Reigns, what else happened on Raw?
Oh, I didn't mind the diatribe. I was going to bring us back, but I realized I wasn't really bringing us back to anything. So you had Miz and Ambrose in the highlight reel. Actually, this was actually funny. The opening segment made you think that the show was going to be pretty good because Jericho comes out and he does the highlight reel. And he says this is going to probably be the last one you'll see on Raw because I'm going to beat Kevin Owens and end up on SmackDown. Well, The Miz comes out. Jericho says he's going to interview himself. Come on, stealing from The Miz. Come on. Miz wannabe. So The Miz comes out and he says the highlight reel is canceled. And I'm like, seriously, they move all the stuff out and move all the new stuff in. And he says, welcome everybody to Miz TV. And so they start that. So then Dean Ambrose comes out and they move all the crap out again. And he's like, well, the Miz TV show has been canceled. I forgot, what was Dean Ambrose's show called?
Ambrose Asylum.
The Ambrose Asylum. So they did a double switch there. Ends with Dean Ambrose giving old Miz the dirty deeds, and that's pretty much how it ended.
You know, I actually saw that segment. I watched that part on Monday, and up to the point where Dean Ambrose came out, I enjoyed it. And I don't know, man. I just get the feeling that Dean is just completely phoning it in. And maybe it's just because we've seen him in the Miz feud before. Yeah. And I don't understand the point. Okay, we're going to bring these two guys over from this other show and immediately have them feud with each other.
Yeah, and I think that has more to do with it than anything. I was thinking about this with the Shield the three guys. Roman Reigns, unfortunately, the only one of the three that's had any kind of character development is Seth Rollins.
Well, yeah, and Dean Ambrose became a prop comic, but
but no, it's just like he really hasn't had a character development. I mean, Seth Rollins, you've seen him go heel and then have a realization and go face. He's now his third finisher. I mean, he's had the injury and came back. He's really actually had character development. Now he's Seth freaking Rollins. Roman Reigns is the same Roman Reigns that was in the Shield.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ambrose is the same Dean Ambrose that was in the Shield. But Roman Reigns doesn't have the two workers putting in the work for him before he comes in and goes all Roman Reigns on people. And Dean Ambrose he acts kind of crazy, but he doesn't have Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns there to kind of balance him out. So his shtick has gotten really old, really, honestly, I feel fairly quick. And if he rebounds and does a clothesline one more time, I'm going to pull the little hair that I have left out.
Yeah, that is... You know what would be cool, actually? If they did something where the Shield, especially if Roman Reigns is going to stay babyface, but if they got the Shield back together and they had a match, some six-man, some feud, somebody they win, and they're standing in the ring celebrating, and then Dean, then gives Seth a dirty deeds and turns on Seth and basically turns heel. That would be something different. And then they could feud with a different dynamic. I know we've seen it before, but it would be something different. But then there's been talk that the whole Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, and Ambrose Miz feuds might switch, and Ambrose might feud with Wyatt, and Finn might feud with the Miz. I mean, really, I'm okay. I'm fine either way, I guess. Even though Dean and Wyatt had a feud, but they had good matches. So I would like to see Finn feud with pretty much all three of those guys at some point. So
I just want Finn to wrestle every week.
Good call.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good wrestler, and I like his personality to come out, and it's just right now he's in a holding pattern, and I would like to see him break out of that holding pattern.
So what else happened?
So that match happened. Matt Hardy and Sheamus fought, and you thought since Jeff got the victory over Cesaro that Sheamus, of course, would be Matt because that's how WWE books. But Matt actually got the victory over Sheamus, and Sheamus actually held Cesaro back from attacking the Hardy Boys, which has been kind of interesting dynamic, how they've built to Sheamus and Cesaro actually being friends, even though Sheamus doesn't like other people. There was a Cruiserweight tag team match. I'm going to skip over it because nothing happened. The Kalisto and Braun dumpster match. We can talk about that as in, so they took a really good spot, which is throwing the dumpster off of the side of the stage area. They took that spot and they made it lane. So I don't know if you've seen the spot. Well, he throws Kalisto in the trash can, locks him in, and then he rolls him off the top. Well, the thing is, it was about a 3-foot drop maybe. So it was lame. It was really, really lame.
I bet it still sucked, though, for Kalisto. That probably did not.
It might have sucked for Kalisto, but as far as visually, it looked horrible. It just looked lame. It looked like, I'm just going to set you right here on the side.
And the whole thing, my understanding is Kalisto somehow won. I guess he knocked... was this basically a casket match, but with a dumpster instead of a casket?
No, it was a lame version of both. Because every casket match, and every dumpster match I've seen before, you had to shut the lid. That's a big part of the dumpster match. Well, in this one, Braun was trying to throw Kalisto off the apron into the match, and he basically got kicked and fell into the dumpster. Without it shutting, the match was over.
Boo. That's stupid.
really, really lame. It was like a cool, cute way to give Kalisto a win, but come on, he didn't do anything. It was basically I tripped and fell into the dumpster. But every match I remember this being involved in, you had to shut the lid.
Yeah, that's oh man, because I assumed something that they were both on the apron, and somehow Kalisto hit like a insaguri or a dropkick or something, and just fluke knocked Braun into the trash can and then shut the lid. Looked at the crowd like, oh, holy crap, and shut the lid real quick, and then celebrated, look at me, I beat the Giant, and then the Giant jumped out and just killed him.
Minus the lid being shut, that's pretty much what happened.
They should have added the lid being shut. That's just, I mean, but continuity, schmontinuity, they do whatever they want.
Say, F Logic. I was like, it was a perfect time for Roman Reigns to come in. I thought, get a spear and then roll him in there and shut the lid. That would have been cool. Anyway, but you got to shut the lid. I mean, I know it's a small detail that why are you paying attention to this, you freaking idiot? This is a show for kids. But come on. You can't do years and years of not shutting the lid and then, say, I mean, years and years of shutting the lid and then say, we're just going to ignore it in this match.
Exactly. That's, I mean, I guess since it's not a casket, because the big thing with a casket match isn't so many of them people fall into the casket, but the lid doesn't get shut. But speaking real quick of casket matches, did you ever see that Grave Consequences matches on Lucha Underground? It was Phoenix against Mil Muertes from this first season.
I did not.
Holy crap! It is one of the greatest casket matches ever. It's you honestly though, really during the summer you need to watch. Just start from the beginning and watch Lucha Underground at some point when you're not watching a whole bunch of other stuff, because it is really fun. But
yeah, Lucha Underground is a victim of my wrestling obsession. I watch 13 hours of wrestling a week. Don't really find the time to add another show in there yet.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I feel you. So, anything else happen on Raw?
And still get to watch everything else. Dana Brooke beat Alicia Fox with the worst. She was doing the driver from the fireman's carry position. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. It goes to my point that she's regressing somehow. Because in NXT, she did the move, and it looked very, very clean. On Monday, I saw this. It's basically like I say, it's a fireman carry Michinoku driver, but she did it so bad. And of course, Alicia Fox had to sell it, but it was just so bad. Yeah. And it was just like, it didn't even look like it hurt, and it was just like, I know I'm supposed to send disbelief, but it was horrible. And she is, like I said, she is somehow getting worse.
I've really wondered about that because, and I'm not being critical of her because first of all, she seems like a nice girl.
Really nice chick. Seems like everything I see, she seems like the most nice and genuine person.
Right. And she's very pretty, but her physique has changed from when she first came in. She was slimmer, she was more toned, because she came right off of that whole whatever model thing. What the hell was it that she did?
She was a fitness model.
Fitness model, yeah, and which was almost like Mr. Olympia, but with chicks in bikinis, and not like super buff. And so she came in super athletic, and then at some point, I think it was after she came to Raw, something happened, and it's her physique has really changed. She's a lot thicker than she was. Again, not saying this is a bad thing. I'm not criticizing her. I'm just observing her.
I am saying it's a bad thing. She knew how to work with her body the previous way when she would come out and flex, and she had those huge biceps. It was like very defined biceps.
And they aren't anymore. Sometimes she'll flex, and it's like, what happened? Did you stop working out?
Yeah, no, and it's like, what I understand is when you look too ripped as a woman, they generally try to ask you to change your diet, slim down. And it looks like she got puffy for a while. Of course, she's nowhere near fat. in any way.
God, no.
But she got puffy, where it looked really, really bad on TV, where it could come off as fat if someone that's not educated that this woman only weighs like 130 pounds. So
right, she went from having the physique of a fitness model to having a physique like Natalia.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know if they wanted her to go softer or whatever, but the body that she has now, she doesn't know how to work with. It's pretty bad. I don't know if she's lost actual muscle, but
she has to have. I mean, and she needs to get back to doing what she was doing before. Because before, at least you were like, okay, she is really green, doesn't really know how to do these moves, but she has the athleticism down. And now she doesn't even have that. And of course, the fact that she shares the same finishing move with Grand Metalik, who does it extremely well and makes it look very brutal. When she busts out the Metalik driver, it just looks bad. I mean, even when she did it well.
And then that's what I was like. It just did look like she knows how to work with what she has now. I want her to succeed. I'm a big Dana Brooke fan. I am becoming less and less so, because I don't care what you look like. You could look like the Jolly Green Giant. You could look like a three-eyed monster. If you can't work, that is the fastest way to make me hate you.
Yeah, I'd say put her back with Gallows and Anderson. When she was with them, she should be their valet. That was freaking awesome. They had great chemistry. She is so good on the mic. So freaking good on the mic. And just let her talk, man. Just screw her being a face, because it's weird. It doesn't work. She needs to be their mouthpiece, because that was great.
So, and then we had, it was supposed to be Big Cass and Enzo and Seth Rollins versus Joe, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. This was the interesting part, because as they were coming out, Enzo and Big Cass were coming out, they got jumped by Joe, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and Enzo got the Magic Killer on the outside of the ring.
Ouch.
Well, all of a sudden they need another partner. And who's the greatest substitute tag team partner ever? Finn Balor. So, this got me angry, because we are in the reality era of the WWE, right?
Apparently.
Well, reality is that Finn Balor is best friends with Gallows and Anderson. Everyone knows this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if they are best friends, why would Finn Balor come out and wrestle against his best friends with the guy that broke his shoulder?
Yeah, that makes no sense. Well, if he had come out and then had turned and joined Gallows and Anderson and destroyed Seth, then that would have made sense. But that's just because that's lazy booking. That's just, we're baby faces, so we're friends. Yay!
Yeah, so that was a big old fuck logic moment of Raw, and I put it on our account. I put it on our Around the Ring account. It's like, this makes no sense to anyone that has watched the show before. You don't even have to follow these people on Twitter. WWE has pointed out how good of friends Gallows, Anderson, and Balor is on their show.
Exactly. Yeah, speaking of, you should follow the show on Twitter, at Around the Ring OK. Floyd does some awesome live tweeting during Raw and SmackDown, and I'm guessing you're going to do some live tweeting tonight?
I am definitely going to do some live tweeting tonight for WWE Payback. Until I looked up Wikipedia, I couldn't have told you all the matches on it. It's actually a solid card.
It's not bad. Do you want to do predictions of it now, or you want to talk about?
Yeah, you know what? We just got through. We're talking about Raw. Let me bring up one more thing from Raw,
okay,
and then we can say screw everything else. It was Apollo Crews and Kurt Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins basically says that every person that comes out and fights him every week is a star. So he's like, who wants to be on the next episode of Kurt Hawkins' Star Maker? So Apollo Crews comes out to zero fanfare. He didn't get booed. He didn't get cheered. I think people went to the bathroom. Seriously, it was just quiet. So he comes out. He wins. He does all his Apollo Crews moves, which are lame. And then Titus O'Neil comes out, and he's cheering them on, and he takes a selfie, and he posts it online, and some great memes came from that post. One saying, when you just got drafted by the NFL, and your dad shows up out of nowhere, because Apollo Crews did this great, just like, oh, who the hell are you type of look. It was perfect. It was like the most entertaining thing he's done since he's gotten to WWE. And then Titus O'Neil was super excited. So this was them rolling. It looks like this is going to be them rolling out the Titus brand with Titus O'Neil playing the Abraham Washington type character. If you don't know, Abraham Washington was this loud guy who was the original manager of the Primetime Players. He said insensitive joke about Kobe, making fun of Kobe and raping someone. And he got basically WWE does. They distanced themselves from him. They took him off the show and never brought his name up again.
Wow, yeah, I mean, rape jokes, that's not cool.
Well, he's like, we're gonna treat you like Kobe did that white girl or something like that. It was very
damn.
Yeah. I mean, Attitude Era, perfectly fine. PG-13 era, get you fired.
I mean, shoot, they fired old Brad Maddox for calling people during a dark match, or no, it was a house show, a bunch of pricks. So that just shows you what. And sometimes I think Brad got fired for there were other reasons, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But yeah, you have to be real stinking careful about what you say, unless you are, a John Cena level or, a beautiful Samoan. Then you can probably do whatever you want.
Let me say this, and the fact that rumors had it he was running through all of the NXT women, that probably didn't help him a lot either.
Oh, Brad Maddox?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's obviously there's been footage of said running throughs that has been leaked with the page. And who does that, man? Seriously? I mean, I know that's common this day and age, but it was... Anyway, digress.
It's like, like I said, shouldn't have happened, but,
and
it mean I didn't look.
Yeah, can we just say for a second real quick, Apollo Crews is one of the biggest screw-ups in modern WWE. I mean, have they dropped the ball harder with anyone else in recent memory than they have with...
Not recent memory, but I think the biggest screw-up they ever did was Matt Morgan. I have never seen a person that looked more like a star than Matt Morgan.
Is he in TNA now?
He's in TNA now. And I'm just like, Matt Morgan was pretty much, hey, here's a 7-foot, physically jacked, good-looking guy. Go make lots of money.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the same thing about Drew Galloway / McIntyre. They dropped the ball with him, and now they...
Oh, no. I just felt like Matt Morgan, he had already had, he was a little bit known outside of wrestling. He was just this genetic freak. I'm not saying anything against... I would honestly say we could do a top 5 list on the biggest screw-ups.
Ooh, that might be a good one sometime.
That would be it. Galloway would definitely be on my list, but I just thought Matt Morgan just looked like money. He just, he looked like money. He could have been green. He could have been whatever. I would have figured it out. Because that dude looked like he should have dominated everyone.
Good point. All right, anything else from Raw before we talk about WWE Payback?
I am done with Raw. It was bad.
All right, well, we'll get your thoughts on SmackDown and a little bit on NXT here after a bit, but let's go ahead and break down this Payback, which is tonight. It is April 30th, and so there is a pre-show, pre-match. What are those fucking things called? Is it pre-show?
Pre-show.
Thank you. God. Enzo and Cass against Gallows and Anderson because fuck us. That's why. I don't know. I mean,
they're actually missing a pre-show match on here too.
Oh, really? What else is on there?
Miz and Finn Balor are in a pre-show match.
Okay, see, now that could actually be fun. So,
if there was a reason for the match, I would be down.
Yeah, I don't mind matches that have 0 reasons on Raw. Because theoretically,
and let me say that's not a match. Is Finn Balor is going to be the Miz's guest on Miz TV?
Okay, well that makes a little more sense. But I'm totally fine with matches on Raw that come out of left field because, in theory at least, everything should be trying to get toward the title. So all matches should be trying to move you up the ladder toward a title shot. So there should be a lot of randomness about picking guy or girl A versus guy or girl B. Let's have a match. Whoever wins is that much closer to a shot at a belt.
You mean the title that's not even on Raw?
Exactly, yeah. Yes, this Raw pay-per-view, which will possibly be headlined by the SmackDown Championship.
Exactly. Because the Raw Universal title is in North Dakota or Canada or wherever Brock Lesnar lives.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you think's going to win this, Cass and Enzo or Gallows and Anderson?
Okay. Logic says Gallows and Anderson because you keep them relevant and keep them in a title picture. So probably Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, Enzo and Cass don't need the win. I mean, until it gets to the point where they have been beaten so much that they become Dolph Ziggler, but they have this great advantage of Enzo being so bloody good on the mic that he can just get over like Rover. It's not even funny. Gallows and Anderson still need the victories. They ate a lot of pins and a lot of stupid losses, most of which Carl Anderson took, because between these two guys, I'm sorry, Carl Anderson is leaps and bounds better than Luke Gallows. And so the fact that Anderson's the one who's constantly eating the pin irks me to no end. My hope is that Gallows and Anderson win, but you're right, Cass and Enzo will probably win for a match that no one cares about and most people probably won't even watch. So next up, we're going to have the Cruiserweight Championship match, Neville defending against Austin Aries. So here's the conundrum I see with this. Neville is a fantastic champion. He, since he's been heel, has been on fire. Austin Aries is over as fuck, about as over as anyone has been in this division. You kind of need to pull the trigger on him, but by doing so, you're ending a great title run. So you could almost go either way with this. I just really hope they give them at least 15 minutes so they can have a great match.
Unless someone's debuting on the 205 Live Tuesday night, unless someone's new is debuting, Austin Aries has to win.
Yeah, I mean, because what else is he going to do?
Yeah, because Neville is beating everyone.
Right.
So unless you're doing your favorite gimmick, the whole I've beaten everyone in 205 Live repeatedly, I have nothing else left to do, and then you have someone debut.
Okay, so if they did that, I mean, I'm sure the person they would probably cart out is freaking Kalisto, because we know he's going to be on 205 Live eventually, and honestly, that's probably where he should be. But who would, if they were going to bring out someone that they have not had on 205 Live yet, someone who is either in the Cruiserweight Classic or is currently in NXT, who would you bring out for that?
All right. First of all, I'm going to say this. Returning Cedric Alexander would be my first pick. But if I had to go either one and you're looking for a reaction that people are going to love, you go with Pete Dunne.
Ooh, good choice. Is he? Well, is he under 205 pounds?
Oh yeah, that's why he's called the Bruiserweight.
Okay. See, my initial thought, and I'd sadly, as much as I love Cedric Alexander, I'd forgotten about him. When is he going to be cleared? Is he coming back anytime soon?
The way he said it, it's one of those things. He's injured, but if he was in the Indies, he'd be still working.
Well, that's probably good then that he's not, because he needs to heal up. That is one great advantage with WWE is a lot of times these folks can actually take time off to let their bodies properly heal.
Yeah, but like someone like said, I mean, they definitely need him out there because this is his shot, and it's one of those things you need to be seen, you know. And I think they're at the point where they have to do something else on the division. I mean, if they wanted to do a cruiserweight tag belt, that might help, but I don't know.
They need something else. They do. Because one of two things needs to happen. They either need to add some other element into the show, or they need to dissolve the show and incorporate it into NXT in the actual weekly cruiserweight matches, and then have some of it on Raw. One of those two things. Because what they're doing now, even though apparently it's better, it hasn't gotten to the point where I've actually taken time to watch it. Not that that means a whole lot, because I'm just one jamoke. But if I'm as big of a fan as I am, and if they're, especially with people on that roster that I really like, and if I'm not taking the time to watch it, that's a bad sign. But my first thought in thinking who could come out, not that he would get a big reaction at first, but if he had a killer match against Neville, you bring out Roderick Strong.
I mean, he could definitely help. I know it won't be this week because congratulations to Roderick Strong on celebrating the birth of his baby. So I doubt he'll be working this week, but he'll be working soon.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I think if I'm going to err on with this particular match, Austin Aries versus Neville, I think it's time to put the belt on Aries. Though the one thing they could do is TJP could come out and cost Aries the match, which is probably what's going to happen, which gross. But we'll see. My hope is Austin gets a clean win, but a hard win. Like, it takes him everything. He barely wins, but he does win clean. So I'm with you there. Next up, we have the Raw Women's Championship. Bayley taking on Alexa Bliss. What are the chances of the hugging queen walking out with the belt?
I think like 95%.
Yeah, I think Alexa's going to get that belt eventually. Because how can she not? She's awesome. But yeah, it's the women's division on Raw is in a really weird place right now.
Yeah, if they're really going to the Sasha heel turn, Bayley has to win. Or if Sasha maybe accidentally costs Bayley the match against Alexa Bliss, or if Sasha causes Bayley to get DQ'd, which, you know, Alexa gets the win, but Bayley, there's a lot of different ways they can go to it, but I don't think that belt's coming off Bayley tonight. If it does, I will celebrate like I don't ever celebrate, because, like, as you know, Bayley is the bane of my existence. But, yeah, and Alexa Bliss is probably my second favorite woman in the WWE, so I would look forward to Bayley losing.
There you go. Next up, we have the Tag Team Championship match. Cesaro and Sheamus challenging the Hardy Boys. Do you think there's any chance Matt and Jeff drop the belts tonight?
They are. I believe they are, because Matt basically has been putting tweets that he's about to be broken again. And the only way debuting the broken gimmick works is if the Hardys lose tonight and Jeff does something stupid to actually cost them the belts.
So Jeff goes to do something super reckless because he's Jeff Hardy, and he screws it up, and Sheamus and Cesaro win, and Matt loses his mind.
Exactly.
And you could tell, you don't have to like rely on the previous broken story. You can just start the whole thing over. And so yeah, man, if WWE somehow secured the rights or figured, screw it, we're just going to go for it. If they sue us, we've got so much more money than they do. Bring it. Then yeah, I could see that happening, and there are worse things than Cesaro and Sheamus having the tag team championships, because another great success story in WWE, and especially Monday Night Raw, has been the Cesaro-Sheamus tag team. I can't believe that I am as happy as I am about anything having to do with Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus, let me tell you, I thought he had reached Apollo Crews level of people just don't care. And you know what? He's a big guy, and put in the right situation, it can work. And WWE was right again where I was wrong, because I thought the Sheamus and Cesaro tag team was stupid. I am still of the opinion Cesaro should be the biggest single star in the world right now, but I can live with this.
I'm right there with you. Cesaro should be a world champion or fighting for a world championship, because next to AJ Styles, he is probably the best overall performer that they have. He
made me care about a match with Sami Zayn.
Yeah, there you go. And I love Sami, but I mean, he's put him in there with a blow up doll. Let's have him go, Kenny and Okada, or not Okada, Ibushi. Do what they did. Put him in there with a doll or like a kid. Let's go full blown. Let's put him in there with like an 8-year-old and have a match, and he would make a great match out of it, because he's that good. And anyone who can get Cesaro or Sheamus over, is super talented.
And the fact is, I think of it the business side. I've been learning to try to think of it the WWE side. You are rolling out these different wrestlings in all these different parts of the world. Who's the one guy in the WWE that can speak all the languages?
Exactly. And you know what? Cesaro is a really good-looking dude in that Jason Statham kind of manner. So the ladies are going to like him. He can talk damn near any language you need him to. So you send him to wherever the hell, and he's probably going to talk their language.
Yeah, like they tried to build up that John Cena's been learning Chinese for the Chinese. Like, dude, Cesaro knows all the languages. How are you going to build this up as John Cena being anything special?
Yep, exactly.
But like I said, it's one of those weird things. I'm never going to let go of the fact that you should push the shit out of him. But I like him with Sheamus. They work. The whole ripping off the kilt thing, and they come out in the suits with the kilt. I think that's cool as hell. And if you ever break up the tag team, people actually care enough that even if Cesaro went heel on Sheamus, I think a lot of people would get behind Sheamus.
I think it's possible. Even though the last thing in the world I want to see is them feuding again. Even though they had great feuds, I remember when Sheamus was the babyface and Cesaro was the heel, and they were feuding over the U.S. title. They had some fantastic matches. What I would rather see, though, is them go on and eventually Cesaro get a singles push, but they stay as friends. Like they've got each other's backs and everything. And this is the second tag team that Cesaro's been in that seems like some randomly thrown together stuff, and it's just been awesome. The tag team he had with Tyson Kidd was fantastic. They were so good together. I mean, Tyson Kidd was one of the great in-ring performers that never really got the credit he deserved. And, you've got Cesaro in there who's a freaking master. And they started out as these heels that were annoying and people didn't like. And then it just got to the point, crowds were like, holy crap, these guys are so good. It turned them babyface. They didn't change anything about the way they did things. I mean, Natty was still being, cat Natty. And it was just, they made it work. And yeah, that just, again, I'm gushing over Cesaro because I love him so much because he's amazing. But yeah, I like your idea. I hope that Cesaro and Sheamus win, and we get some broken Matt finally in WWE. Next up, we've got the United States Championship, a championship which is now a SmackDown title Kevin Owens defending against Chris Jericho. If Jericho wins, he heads to SmackDown. Does that mean that Owens stays on SmackDown if Jericho wins? I mean, I know Jericho's not winning.
They didn't explain it because we know Jericho's going to lose. So they felt like, why explain it when we know it's not going to happen?
Exactly. So, that's going to happen. I guess at this point, the only drama behind this match is to see how good it is and to see what they do. Yeah,
if they write Jericho off, this will be like, if this was the Indies, again, this is not going to happen on WWE. I'm not even insinuating. Kevin Owens sets up Jericho and package pile drives him through a table, and boom, he's out for like ever. You write him off really nice. I don't know what they're going to do tonight. Maybe they do it where he gives him like 2 apron power bombs instead of 1, but Jericho's going to have to get carried out on a stretcher tonight.
Yeah, I foresee apron power bombs in Jericho's future. Right. And Jericho's going on tour, so we will see him rocking out.
He's actually coming to Oklahoma.
Yay.
I don't listen to his music, so I know to say, if we were right here and you press play and it was a Chris Jericho song, I would not know it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't either, because what little I've heard, it's like bad Bon Jovi.
I mean, Jericho is Jericho, and he has built up a big enough name where he could tour with a band, and people are going to come see it because he's a wrestler.
There you go.
How good his band is, it may be the best band in the world. I would have no clue.
All right, so then next up we have Seth Rollins taking on Samoa Joe. Seth Rollins with his a move that he appropriated from Kenny Omega with a bit of Okada. It's an Okada Omega move.
But the problem is it looks horrible and slow. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure people know how to take it because it's a weird setup. It's doing that the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I would rather do what? Say it again.
So slow.
Yeah, and I would rather. I think a cool move would be whip someone into the corner turnbuckle, run at full speed, and do a jumping knee and knee them in the face. I think that would be a better finisher. If you did that, you hit it just right, you could make that look awesome. I don't know if Seth doing a flying knee maneuver every match as a finisher is a good idea, considering he's already broken a man's face with a flying knee. So, I mean, how many more nose reconstructive surgeries are possibly in our future? Even though that would probably look pretty badass if he did it.
And that was, I think that's my biggest problem, is you can tell he's trying to be careful, so the actual strike doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's. I totally understand them trying to figure out a new move for him. That makes sense. Because I was never a big fan of him using the pedigree. I'd like him to use the curb stomp again, but I also totally understand why they don't use that one.
They could just call it they call it anything else and it'll be fine.
No, it's the visual of they're in the middle of a lawsuit about concussions. And the whole move of let's slam a guy's head into the mat with your foot looks really bad.
What is Dean Ambrose's finisher?
Oh, I know it's a DDT, but it's
literally holding a guy's arms up and slamming his head into the mat.
Oh, I do not see. I'm right there with you. I think it's silly to not let him do the curb stomp.
Pedigree. I'm driving all of my weight on top of someone's head.
The difference with the pedigree is them letting go of the hands. Because they start holding with their hands clasped, and then when they let go, so the person can put their hands down.
Curb stomp. When he goes up over the head, the person puts their hands down and then lands on them.
Oh, you're choir and you're preaching to it, my brother. But
if there isn't, that's what I'm saying. It's not any worse visual than any other move in wrestling.
They or a lawyer of theirs thinks it is, so that therein lies the problem.
What I understand I think there was an interview with Triple H, and he was talking about how they were sending out clips because Seth was going to be on the Today Show, and Vince saw the movie and he's like, that just looks really bad, and he didn't like it, and that's when he banned the curb stomp.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything from a lawyer. It wasn't anything. It was Vince didn't like how it looked, so he banned it. I mean, it's great because you're rich and you're the all-powerful Vince McMahon, so you can do what you want, but it's very annoying as a fan of a product who really the move was over. I was invested in that move.
Oh, yeah. It's a great move. And, I mean, it's when he'd hit it on Brock a few times, and it even laid Brock Lesnar out. You know, that's definitely makes a move look pretty badass when you put down Brock Lesnar with it. And I don't know what I don't know what. Do you know what move he used in ROH? What was his finisher then?
The curb stomp. It was called the blackout.
Okay, so has he always used that move up until Pedigree?
I don't know. Always. I honestly did not watch NXT when he was on it.
Okay, he definitely needs something better than the Rainmaker knee.
Yeah,
but.
I'd rather him actually do the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker is all about who's selling it. It's not about the person doing it. It's just the clothesline. If you sell it like it hurts, then, hey, it's amazing. But the Rainmaker knee is horrible. I'd rather him do more of the snap knee like Kenny Omega, where he throws the guy off the ropes and then does a snap knee into his face. I would handle that better.
So what do you think about Kenny Omega's what he said on Twitter about having his move taken?
Well, he said he was saying there's been a theme of it because Big Damo uses what's it called, the cross-winged angel or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called.
I can't remember right now either.
But yeah, that move he uses it, and Big
One-winged angel. The one-winged angel.
Yeah, the one-winged angel. So Big Damo uses that move. So, people have been using his moves, but you got to understand if you're Kenny Omega, you're in the indies. And until WWE, you don't exist. So no one's stealing your move because you don't exist. At one point, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, the two world champions, CM Punk was using the GTS, which was Hideo Itami's move. Daniel Bryan was using the flying knee and the yes lock, which he stole both from Hideo Itami.
Yes, Kenta has provided many a finisher for WWE.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, if you're not in the WWE, you don't exist. So shut up.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, but it's also fair for fans to get to the point where they can associate some moves, because I think a lot of times when Damo busts that out, people think of Kenny Omega, because that one-winged angel is definitely, that's Kenny's move. That's a badass move.
When Bret Hart does it, it's a Scorpion Deathlock. When Bret Hart does this sharpshooter, when Sting does this Scorpion Deathlock. It's been happening for years.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't even understand why it's even a point of conversation. You're in Japan. The majority of the people that watch your program, especially if they're American, don't really care for the WWE product anyway.
True that. All right. So
and his knee looks so much better than Seth's. It looks like a bastardized version of the same move.
Yeah, Kenny. Okay. So here's the $64,000 question: who's better? Oh, just overall, Kenny Omega or Seth Rollins?
I would call it a push. I think Seth Rollins would be freaking amazing in Japan, where he could wrestle a little stiffer.
Yeah.
And I think Kenny Omega, because of his style, he could adjust to the WWE very well. I don't think there's a better. I think they're good. They're both just really, really good. I know people talk about Seth hurting people, and I've made jokes about Seth hurting people Well, I still think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He was the best in the Shield by far. And I think he's one of the best on the roster by far. Him and AJ putting matches together are just amazing. I think he's on that level. But, when someone's like, you can't do that move, you can't do that move, you can't do that move because you might hurt someone, because people don't know how to take moves, you kind of get, they keep cutting you off. I mean, they took the curb stomp away from him. They didn't really take the buckle bomb away from him because Triple H took it. But, he doesn't use it anymore, really. So it's just like, if someone keeps saying, okay, here's your art, but, okay, you can't use green. Well, now you can't use blue. Your pain's going to start getting crappy after a while.
True that. And this, this makes me think of a top 5, which I dropped the ball this week, so we have no top 5 this week. We've been talking about doing a top 5 heel turns, but I just thought of something maybe we should do next week instead. Top 5 WWE wrestlers that would work or get over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, caveat being ones that have never been there.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so okay, good, because that will be fun. So let's get back to the Payback. Next up, we have Randy Orton taking on Bray Wyatt in a non-title match in the House of Horrors. Ooh, which last I heard, no one still knows what the hell it is.
It's going, from what I understand, it's going to start at the House of Horrors, and then the match is going to end by pinfall submission in the ring. It's going to kind of be like the Boiler Room Brawl.
Okay, so it's going to probably, some of it's pre-taped.
Yeah, they're probably taping it today, and then the match will end inside the ring, which is kind of weird to me because they're in San Jose, California. So it's like, is it going to be like backstage because you're in the sunniest of sunny states? So it's not like you're going to be able to find a dark and ominous area.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This either has the chance to be the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life or the biggest pieces of shit that you've ever seen.
Yeah, this is going to go down one of two ways. This is going to be amazing or a clusterfuck shit show.
There is no middle. There's no. It was all right. It's going to be either it was awesome or it was shit.
And a lot of it will. It depends on two things. One, what they actually do with the gimmick of the match, and two, whether or not Randy Orton cares.
Yep.
Because if Randy doesn't care, and it doesn't matter how good the gimmick is, it's gonna stink. All right, and then what is probably, I'm guessing, going to be the main event? Roman Reigns taking on Braun Strowman.
Did we talk about Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe?
We never said who's going to win. Who do you think's going to win? Yeah, we spent so much time on that.
Seth Rollins is going to take the shitty knee and win.
Oh.
It's going to give Samoa Joe the shitty knee and win.
Okay, you're right. That's probably going to happen. I'll agree with that. And who wins Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt? I say Bray Wyatt wins because Randy has nothing to lose by losing this match, and he can lose by some weird fangled snake bite, fucking TV to the face, whatever. It can be some stupid way, and Bray can win. So I think Bray wins.
I think Randy wins, but Bray takes a beat. Randy wins, but Bray beats the hell out of him.
There we go.
But, I think the RKO is going to come out of nowhere. And that, to me, that's the whole ending in the ring part. That's what ruins to me. That, to me, tells you the story that it's going to end with the RKO. But if you want to do it right, if you're trying to be like, if you want to try to build up a mystique for Bray Wyatt, it needs to be him winning. Then he can be like, this is the match he's never lost. So if you ever try to build him up against a main event face guy, you can be like, him versus Bray in the House of Horror match, a match Bray Wyatt invented and has never lost.
Yeah, and I think Randy needs to hit an RKO and Bray needs to kick out.
No one kicks out an RKO anymore. It's like the most protected move ever now.
I don't think it's as protected as the bro kick.
It if you can give it to Brock Lesnar and he doesn't kick out, it's protected.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar did kick out of an RKO.
He did kick out of an RKO. I think he kicked out of 2 of them.
He did.
Yeah, and bro kick, I didn't know was that protected. I actually, I watched that video, Most Protected Moves, and I was like, what?
Yeah, can you think of a time when someone has kicked out of a bro kick?
No, broke.
And you know who takes a great bro kick is freaking Enzo. Enzo looks like he dies when he takes that move.
Enzo, understand, since I think it just comes from practice because he is the one that takes the beating. He is great at selling. I mean, he's great on the mic and he's great at selling.
Oh yeah,
Everything when Cesaro hits him with that forearm, he does his little eye roll thing where you think he's actually passing out.
Yeah, he just mimics the time when he did actually pass out in the ring when he hit those ropes so hard it gave him a concussion. He's just like, hey, I'll just do that again. Man, that was a scary moment too. But anyway, but yeah, that man he does 2 things brilliantly: talks and sells. But yeah, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Samoa and Cena, Samoa and Superman getting the win.
I honestly don't think it ends with the actual winner. I think the match breaks down and gets thrown out.
That makes a lot of sense because this is a complete B who gives a fart pay-per-view.
Yeah, so I think the match gets thrown out and maybe Roman ends up, out on top, as in Braun takes the spear, but Braun doesn't actually take the 1, 2, 3 tonight.
I hope not, because they need to keep Braun as strong as humanly possible. So double count out, double DQ, I could deal with that.
Yeah, just the match is thrown out and they're just beating the shit out of each other, and then that would set up the next Raw pay-per-view, making it some kind of street fight or hardcore match.
That's actually a good idea. Hopefully they'll do that.
Raw gets Extreme Rules, right? Or
I don't even know.
I think Raw gets Extreme Rules this year.
And if that's the case, then you give him some gimmicky match to where Roman can use some weapons and beat Braun, and Braun still look good. So yeah. So that's Payback. That's what we think is going to happen on the Payback, mixed in with a whole lot of talk about other stuff. So we are going to do a Payback review tomorrow for our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to the Around the Ring YouTube channel, right now would be the perfect time to go do that. So while you're listening, open up another tab in your browser, head over to youtube.com/AroundTheRingOK, and click on that subscribe button for us. Also, when you listen to the video, hit some like buttons. We'd appreciate that. And if you have any comments, leave them there on the comment section, and we will get back with you.
And much as I've heard it in my life, I do not get tired of hearing how awesome and handsome I am. So if you want to throw that in there.
Exactly.
I know you will see me on the video, but, I am awesome and I am handsome. So
Indeed. So do you want to talk at all about SmackDown?
Yes. I'm gonna run through this one a lot quicker than Raw, but it was actually a pretty decent episode. It wasn't so we start off with Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring with Renee Young. Before he can even talk, then Dolph Ziggler comes out. Dolph Ziggler goes on this kind of like he's interviewing him, but he basically goes on and is calling in the longest, most drawn out way, calling Shinsuke Nakamura wannabe Michael Jackson. And he's like, I knew how you grew up in Indiana with your brothers and you toured, and I mean, he went on and on and on and on. And at the end, he was just basically calling him a wannabe Michael Jackson. Have you heard about this segment?
No, I have not.
Oh God, it was like if, let's say, The Rock did it, right?
Okay.
It would have been way more entertaining. It was just Dolph Ziggler does it in such a way where it was just like, oh my God. To me, it was like, this is perfect, but the execution was shit. So, there you go.
That makes perfect sense.
It was just like, it just wasn't funny. It was supposed to be funny. It wasn't funny. You got AJ Styles and Baron Corbin. AJ Styles, he wins. Okay. Was this? No, it felt like that was last week. But AJ Styles beats Baron Corbin again. I think it was like with a roll up, and he got cost the match by Sami Zayn. Cost him the match, and that's going to lead to something that happens later. We had a beat the clock challenge. So in the 2 tag matches, it was American Alphas versus the Colognes and Breezango versus the Ascension. So I thought this was just another way to get the Colognes the title shot because, of course, they looked like they were building the Colognes. Well, American Alphas beat the Colognes, so I don't know if that just ends the Colognes push right there, but they beat the Colognes. And then Breezango, in a shocking fashion, beats the Ascension, but faster than the American Alphas. Your new number 1 contenders are the Fashion Police, Breezango.
I'm okay with that. I mean, they're the 2 really talented guys.
And they have done, to me, when you eat shit for so long, you have to be given something. He dressed up like Nikki Bella. I mean, Fandango did everything he could to get the Southpaw Wrestling over. Yeah, a lot of people thought he was the star of Southpaw Wrestling. They both dressed up as their Southpaw Wrestling characters at Access and stayed in character the whole time for April Fool's Day. What they're showing, and which I think is very important to the WWE and very important to me also, is that you're willing to do anything to entertain. And they've done anything, and they're always entertaining in what they do. So you put them in a match with the Usos. Of course, Usos might just be, they might just be a match to hold them over to their next feud with eventually the New Day. But still, it gives Breezango TV time. And I don't know. It's funny because they're both heels. So how does that work?
It should be fun. If they actually let Tyler Breeze do what he can do, it could be really, really good.
Yeah, because I think they're going to kind of turn face, because they're going to be the faces in that group. But Breezango they're over, so that's not a big thing. It's funny when people are over, and the WWE didn't mean for them to get over. They kind of get buried sometimes, so it'd be interesting to see what they're going to happen. In an interesting new storyline, I think you'll find this one interesting. Rusev sends in a video, and he basically says he didn't want to be on SmackDown. He doesn't like Daniel Bryan. He doesn't like McMahon. He has no business being on SmackDown. He was undefeated for over a year in the WWE, and he has never gotten a singles world title shot. So he wants the title shot. I forgot which pay-per-view it was. He said it was the June pay-per-view. I guess that will give him time to come back from injury. He wants a title shot in that pay-per-view, or he's just going to go back to Bulgaria.
I like that. That's great. And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So they used the little reality to get it over, and and it's kind of cool that they did that. And I like Rusev. I've always liked Rusev. So that hopefully that ends up him with the title shot. They might be using that to get Randy Orton over more. Or we may see Rusev as a champion, which I think that's a long time coming.
Yeah. That would be I am totally okay with Rusev beating Randy Orton and becoming champion. Yeah. That would be interesting.
It would be better because if Randy Orton tapped, like I said, it was funny because he was so much more interesting with Wyatt. That was they ruined him by taking him away from Wyatt. Them together, where Wyatt would talk and he'd just say, run, and then do his pose, actually worked. Him trying to be anything other than that is horrible. It's just bad. It's just He's not interesting. It's like let's look at world champions you've had over the last year. You've had AJ Styles, and then you had John Cena, who won the title, one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. Then you had Bray Wyatt, who people have been waiting for years to be the champion, of all great personalities that people either like or hate. Then you have Randy Orton, who people just don't give a fuck about at all anymore.
Yeah, it's, and I think what I've heard. My understanding is it was part of him agreeing to let basically Brock Lesnar destroy him and bust him open hard way. Was he would get a title shot, or he would get a run with the belt.
All right. Well, his run with the belt is falling on deaf ears. I just can't believe he comes out at SmackDown after WrestleMania with some of the best fans in the world in that arena, and he pretty much gets no reaction.
Yeah.
And the reaction he gets was boos, and he was the face in the match.
Yeah, that was it was bad.
All right. So we had a women's match. This is the last match because SmackDown, of course, is actually good because it's an abbreviated show. Naomi versus Charlotte. Looks like Charlotte was, headed towards victory. And, of course, a new group, Natalya, Carmella, James Ellsworth, and Serena, Tamina Snuka. I almost called her Serena again. Tamina Snuka came out and they beat up both of them. And fans were cheering for Becky, and she never showed up. And it ended with those four in the ring, and it looked like they were calling them the Welcoming Committee as a name, which I think is a horrible name because Tamina Snuka just debuted on SmackDown. So how is she going to be a part of the Welcoming Committee?
Good. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah. So it's just a dumb name. So they haven't committed to the name on the website. That's how you know when something sticks. If they commit to the name on the website, that's when you know it sticks. So they haven't committed to that name. So we'll see next week. They might come up with something better. Because I remember they had another group where they had a name, and by the next week it had changed.
Well, you remember when they had, oh God, what was it? Paige and Becky and Charlotte together, and they called them like the Submission Sorority or something until they found out, oh hey, that's actually the name of like a porn group.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's they have to be careful with that. Oh man. So definitely sounds like it was a better show.
It was definitely a better show, and it's it's set up for things in the future. Looks like they're going to turn Charlotte face, and maybe we can see her. We see the group of Thelma and Louise. That's her and Becky Lynch. See them tag up again.
Well, that I would. I'm okay with that.
I was just glad they didn't just hurry up and put the belt on Charlotte. I'm like, we just did this, and then on Raw. So the fact that they didn't do it that way was kind of cool.
Yeah, agreed. So, anything else from the SmackDown?
That was it for SmackDown on 205 Live. Baron Corbin pissed that Sami Zayn got in his business, attacked him in the ring. Shane McMahon then suspended Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin will not be on this week's version of SmackDown.
Okay. Sounds that works.
All right. 205 Live. I can go through it really quick because it's only ever 3 matches. Rich Swann and Tozawa beat Noam Dar and Brian Kendrick. Basically, the lesson he learned was pick better partners. Tony Nese defeats Mustafa Ali by disqualification. This has to do with the Drew Gulak gimmick right now. He's in the no-fly zone. Ali was about to go over over Nese, and Gulak distracted him and then pulled Tony Nese out of the ring and onto the floor, which caused Mustafa Ali to be disqualified because Gulag hit Tony Nese. Tony Nese looked like he was going to get pissed, but Drew Gulag said, "Hey, it's okay, you won." And it was just kind of a funny moment because it was almost like Tony Nese didn't know it was supposed to happen. And then Neville to send a message to Austin Aries, beats the holy hell out of Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Austin Aries and him attack, and Austin Aries, the last moment you see is Austin Aries have Neville in the last chancery on the stage.
Well, maybe he won't win, because if he's standing tall, hey, because you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Whoever wins on the go-home normally doesn't win.
That was 205 Dead, the new name I call 205 Live, because even people that watch it religiously, like I do, don't care about it.
That is sad.
Yeah, it's just, they're swinging and missing. It's very much superstars. They are swinging and missing.
Man, and that's a shame, because that roster they have is ridiculous. It is so good. I
mean, you don't want people to treat it like a secondary show, but you treat it like a secondary show by taping it right after another show after people are tired and have been watching wrestling for 2.5 hours. It makes no sense. You don't do a wrestling show right after a wrestling show.
Exactly.
I mean, it'd be like, hey, who you going on after? I'm a comedian. I'm going on after Jerry Seinfeld. Nobody wants to hear me anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, like no one cares. Half the audience leaves. And I mean, they've been throwing on the Nakamura match after 205 Live to get people to stay, and it's like they're there, but they're only there to see Nakamura. That's the first thing. Second of all, they don't know who half the people are because people that go to SmackDown aren't real fans. A lot of people, you get a lot of parents there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, 205 Live, ever since, people are going to get tired of me saying they were set up for failure from the beginning. When they couldn't get Kota Ibushi and they couldn't get Zack Sabre Jr., that hurt. But I honestly don't even think they would. I don't even think they would help.
You wonder if they would have screwed up Kota and Sabre.
They wanted to give them the title, and neither one of them could take it.
Yeah, and it's that's, I got to give those two guys props for saying, because I mean it's guaranteed money. It is, it's a tough schedule, but probably in a way compared to working on the indies, especially like Sabre does, because he works everywhere. I mean, the amount of work that it takes to get those bookings fly all over the place, it would probably be an easier gig just hanging out in WWE. But he's like, nope, I'm going to bet on myself and keep wrestling for Evolve. And
let me just say this. Zack Sabre Jr., I mean, to me, they always say guaranteed money, right?
Right.
But being Zack Sabre Jr. is like guaranteed money. There's no way he's not going to get booked on any show he wants to work.
That is true.
I mean, for some people, like the Young Bucks, it's like they set their own schedule. They don't want to work for a month. Guess what they do? Not work for a month.
Yeah, you're right. And they, I mean, I tell you what, they, more than anyone else, at this point, are probably the most successful independent wrestlers around today.
It's just if you can make yourself name big enough and set your own schedule, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, did you want to talk about NXT at all?
All right. So, NXT, again, I was there for the taping. This is the last week that I was there for the taping, so I will be watching again next week. Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott. Basically, Nikki Cross calls out Ruby Riott. They fight, and that was just a fight. Then they announce a match for later on that night. Later on the night, Ruby Riott comes out, and Nikki Cross jumps her before the match, and it beats her up. And so the match kind of gets thrown out because it never officially starts. Drew McIntyre beat Andrade Cien Almas. They're pulling up. They're trying to start a gimmick that Cien Almas just cares about being out partying and all that stuff, and he doesn't really care about wrestling. Drew Galloway wins with his kick. I don't know what they're calling that kick, but he wins with a kick. Aleister Black beats Kona Reeves. They actually let Kona Reeves get some move in, but it ends with what is it called, the Black Mass? Is that what it's finished?
Yeah.
And it ends with that move, so Aleister Black continues his undefeated streak. And last but not least, the UK champion Tyler Bate defeat Jack Gallagher. It was a good European-style match, a lot of submissions, chain wrestling. If that's what you like, that would be especially for you, it would be a match you should go back and watch. Tyler Bate wins with that 1960, what was it, the Tyler Driver in '96, because that was the year he was born. And he wins with that move. So,
okay.
NXT was very quick and to the point.
How's that match alive? Was the crowd?
The Gallagher to Bate match, they did not tape that day. They taped actually. This was kind of, it was weird because it was kind of put together. They actually, Tyler Bate and Jack Gallagher was at the next NXT tapings, and they kind of spliced them together. So you'll see Tyler Bate and Jack Gallagher, you'll look, and I'm not in the arena all of a sudden.
Man, no Floyd. That's a bummer.
So now I'm looking forward to this week, which is a bunch of NXT I haven't seen, so that works for me. Again, it was a good show. It was a good show. You will see definitely that I was tired. Last week was probably the biggest example because there were some good spots, like the cage match was going on, and if you happen to see me on the other side of the cage, it would look like I was about to fall asleep because it was. It had nothing to do with the match. Nothing to do with the match. All due respect, I had just pushed myself a little too far that week.
And, I mean, that makes complete sense. You had been all over the freaking place. So, that was an exhausting week for you.
Yeah. And for all the people interested in Impact, fairly quickly, Impact, I gave another C. And you know what? Giving them C's, it might not, people might think, oh, well, they're just keep being average shows. But what you're trying to do is build a consistency in your product. And they didn't really delve into the world title that much into this show, and I think that's going to be the most interesting storyline. EC3 came out in the ring and officially went heel, which he did. It was funny because he said, for all those people say they like EC3 better as a bad guy, screw you. Which is funny because I am one of EC3's biggest fans, and I was of the exact same opinion. I liked him better as a heel.
That's what I've heard, that he's always been better as a heel. I really know very little about his career because obviously I'm not an Impact watching person. So
yeah, no, he's amazing as a heel. He's amazing as on the mic. He was okay as a face. He was okay as a good guy. But to me, I don't know. You get this a lot with musicians, and you get this a lot with like people. Well, you'll have a musician. They'll put out an album, right, and you'll love it, right?
Right.
And then the next album, they try to experiment stuff, and you don't like it. You don't like the experiment. And they were like, well, if you're a real fan, you like my music no matter what. Which to me, that's no. Because that's not, having taste. That's being loyal to a person, not loyal to, music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel that same way in wrestling. When I love you as a heel and then they turn you face and you're not as good as a face, me being 100% unbiased, you're just not as good. I don't turn it on to watch you when you're a face, right? You were like, well, you weren't a real fan. I am a real fan. I'm just a real fan of what I saw originally.
Yeah, I don't see that as being a not a real fan. I mean...
Yeah, I'm just saying you hear that a lot with musicians and celebrities. I'm not going to support you no matter what you do if what you do sucks.
Yeah, that...
I am in this for entertainment. I am dedicating parts of my life to watch, and hopefully you entertain me. If what you're doing now does not entertain me, I'm not going to feel bad when I say, well, I liked it the other way better.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Speaking of music, there's a band that I really liked for a long, long time. The band Dropkick Murphys. For anyone who's ever heard of them, they're from Boston, Massachusetts. They are a Celtic punk band, and I really like them. They're most well known for they had a song on the was it the Departed soundtrack? It was the song "Shipping Up to Boston." And it was, which happened to be on what I think is probably their best record. It's called The Warrior's Code. They did another record after that, and then the following record they had a lineup change. One of their guitar players left, and the record that came out after that was just not very good. And because I saw what they were doing, they found this formula that worked, and they're all old guys. They're in their 40s and 50s for the most part. They have families and kids, and I don't blame them. They're like, okay, if we write songs like this, we will sell X number of records. We will get people to come watch us on tour. We will do well and make money. More power to you. That's awesome. But it got to the point where I was like, I literally listened to that record and went, okay, I'm done. And they went from being in my top 5 favorite bands of all time to being a band I rarely, if ever, listen to anymore. I still like their older records, but I don't have this love for them that I once did. And I've heard a few of the things they've put out since then, and it's the same paint-by-numbers crap. And, it's just because you don't like something someone does doesn't mean you're not still a fan. It just means that maybe they've gone in a different direction, and so have you. And you don't like what they're doing now. That doesn't mean you didn't like what they did before.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Kanye West. His first 3 albums were great. I thought were amazing. And it was more closer to just a straight rap album. Because I like rap. But then he more went into the artistic side, and he did this album called 808 and Heartbeats. And I didn't like it. Because I didn't want to hear him sing. He's a rapper. I wanted to hear him rap. That kind of thing. And it's like, I still would go see Kanye in concert. Don't get me wrong. It's just certain stuff that he does now I don't like. And that actually happens with a lot of people for me. When they try to get too artsy-fartsy with their music, I don't generally like it. So, I'm just saying, and to wrap that around, I'm a wrestling. When you change something about your character, and I like that original character, and you change and you do this character, you're still the same person, but you're doing this other character, and you might not do it as well as you did the character before. So, yeah, I like this said actor in this movie. I don't like him in this movie. Doesn't mean I don't like the actor. So to me, it's like that's how I felt with it, and I was like that comment, screw you, came off as a little too real for me, because I have a Ethan Carter III shirt. He's one of the very few people that outside of the WWE that I can honestly say I support. Not just like, I actually support. So I felt like that comment was not necessarily directly at me, because I'm not that narcissistic, but it felt like it was at those people like me.
Well, do you think it's that, or do you think it's more him healing it up? Like,
then he went and did it on Twitter. He went and put it on Twitter too, and his Twitter is generally different than not his character. His Twitter is him.
So how much do you think of that is him actually, like, that's how he really feels, and how much do you think that's him?
I don't know.
Up?
If I ever get the chance, I'm gonna ask, because for me, that would have pissed me off.
Yeah, you got to get those hot takes for us. See if you can get EC3 on the horn.
Oh, and you know what? I'm not, and again, we're not best friends. I'm not an insider, but he's one of the wrestlers that will talk to you. He doesn't just want to get your money and go away. He's not a Bubba Ray. He is a wrestler that talks to you, asks how you doing, how long you've been a fan. He actually cares. I don't know if he learned that from the WWE or learned that more from the indie side, but he's kind of, it's a very, if you ever get a chance to meet EC3, it's an actual good experience. You get the wrestlers that are like, hey, how's it going? They sign your paper, hand it to you, and like, give me money. And then you have those people that genuinely engage you, and he's one of those that genuinely engage you. He makes you think like oh wow, you actually care. And he might not. He might be the fakest thing ever, but he comes off that way.
Well, that's good. I would hope more people would be like that instead of give me your money now, get the hell out of here.
No, a lot of people are like, this is a business transaction. Go away.
Yeah, gross.
I very much got that. Like, Abyss is cool, but I very much got that opinion from him. Kevin Nash, that's how I came off with him. Did you get your picture? All right, now quit talking to me. Like, Kevin Nash was like, hey, how's it going? And, like, he smiled for the picture and literally started talking to X-Pac like we didn't even get to go away. Like, completely ignoring us.
What a dick.
Yeah, like I said, it's funny. It's funny, that kind of thing. It's like, he draws, but Kevin Nash, only thing you can say is him, Bubba Ray, and the people like them, they're honest about it, though.
That's true. There's no pretense with him. You know what you're getting into. And that's something, you talk about the personalities. I recently watched the Johnny Gargano documentary that's up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That I guess it was made when he was doing stuff with AIW, and it's one of those things. Is he really takes time? I'm assuming he still does this to talk to fans, and he takes that stuff real personally. I think because he is. I think the kind of people that have become wrestlers have changed from the guys who were becoming wrestlers in the Attitude Era and before that. It really has become, the people who become wrestlers now tend to be your athletic nerds. If you look at who are these people? You look at your Garganos, your Zanes, your Kevin Owens, Finn Balor. Some of these are like really good looking dudes and ladies, but a lot of them are just uber nerds. You look at Bayley. Bayley is a nerd.
Sasha is also.
Exactly. And it's such an interesting change in the dynamic, because I also think the fans have changed. Back, and I think we've talked about this before, but if you go back and you watch old wrestling, especially if you watch World Class Championship Wrestling, it is as white trash can be. It is country, it is southern, and there aren't a whole lot of teeth. And it's not that way anymore. Yeah, there are a lot of fat dudes who probably have never gotten close to a lady and may never will. And there's the whole, you live in your mom's basement stereotype, probably because there are a lot of wrestling fans that lives in mom's basements. No offense, guys. You're my people, so I feel you. But it's really different. And the grand populace, like... my folks still look at wrestling as white trash, and it's funny. We were gonna have Jerry from Imperial Wrestling Revolution on the show this week, but just scheduling didn't work out. They've got a big show coming up in a couple months. Oklahomania 2 is going to go down, and I think IWR is really, they are Oklahoma's super indie. But they've also got a show coming up next Saturday as part of the Rose Rock Music Festival down in Noble, Oklahoma. If you are anywhere in the Oklahoma City metro area vicinity or in those communities south of the metro area, like your Blanchards and your Newcastles and Lexingtons and stuff like that, if you're not doing anything this weekend, come out to the Rose Rock Music Festival. Imperial Wrestling Revolution will be on at I want to say it's noon. They're going to do, it's either noon or noon 30, go on for about an hour, and then back at around 3 they're going to have another set. And they're going to be a little setup off the side of the stage where the music is playing, and it's going to be fun. It's free. You don't have to pay to get in. You can just come and you can watch. But when I first proposed this, because I'm on the committee, the Rose Rock committee there in Noble. I work in Noble, Oklahoma, and when I first brought it up, people looked at me like, "Are you serious? Are we going to have a bunch of toothless people?" Which that's kind of funny considering where I work, but that's a whole other story. Anywho, I was like, "No, it's wrestling fans are nerds. It's literally it's a bunch of nerds." So yeah, if folks can come out, see some local indie wrestling, if you can, do that on Saturday. It should be fun.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I do have to work a 12-hour day, so unfortunately I won't be able to make it, but I am a fan of RWR. Chandler the Truth Hopkins is probably my favorite wrestler in the organization, so you go check it out. Of course, boss Jerry Bostick is the world champion, so he not only owns it. The term "the boss" is actually very relevant because he is the boss. But yeah, they have a great company. They put on a good show. They bring different indie wrestlers from outside of their organization to do signings. They're one of the guys, a former world champion, Chris Cambridge, actually was one of the bodyguards on the episode of Raw. So they work with Jim Ross quite a bit as far as he getting advice and bringing in people and that kind of information. So Imperial Wrestling Revolution is what they're called. You can go to their website, imperialwrestlingrevolution.com, for more information, or look them up on Facebook. I am a big supporter of Oklahomania. My plan is to personally give out 2 tickets to Oklahomania 2. As we get closer to the show, we'll give more information about that. But you definitely, if you're in Oklahoma, support local wrestling. If you're in a different state and you're listening, support your local wrestling. That is what the local wrestling is what makes the talent that eventually becomes WWE stars later on the day. People like Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, they all started out in local wrestling companies and then expanded and blew up to what they are now.
Exactly, just like that I mentioned, that Johnny Gargano documentary. If you watch that looks like they're playing in in a school auditorium and in front of maybe 50 people. And that's where it all starts for these folks. And so yeah, if you can, Oklahomania is coming up. My hope is that we do get Jerry on the show before then to promote it. And really, it's that show is definitely a super indie. You're bringing in big names. Last year, it had Broken Matt, it had Moose, it was a who's who.
Kevin was there.
Yeah,
Sean Waltman was there. Abyss, Jim Cornette, who was amazing. He was there. Yeah,
big time who's who, and so far from what I've heard this year, it's going to be the same. So it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, Saturday, May 6th, 5th. 1 moment, I don't even know a calendar. May 6th, Saturday, May 6th, Noble, Oklahoma, part of the Rose Rock Music Festival. You can find out more information about the Rose Rock Music Festival at nobleok.org. And you can find out more about Imperial Wrestling Revolution at imperialwrestlingrevolution.com, or if that's too much, just Google it. And great folks. So we got anything else before we get out of here?
No. Next week we will come back with the Hall of Fame, and we'll do our top 5. We're doing top 5 wrestlers that will work in New Japan that haven't been there before. It's kind of specific, but you're definitely going to get that list.
Top 5 WWE wrestlers. Yes.
That would.
And I've actually I've been already working on mine. So It should be good. And don't forget, though, tomorrow on our YouTube channel, we will have a review of WWE Payback, which is happening tonight. We will discuss that tomorrow and have that up on the YouTube's, youtube.com/Around the Ring OK. And if you want some kick-ass live tweeting, head over to Twitter and follow us at Around the Ring OK. Floyd's going to be there doing some live tweeting. I tell you what, Floyd's kind of taken over our Twitter machine and has done a great job. So I appreciate that because I didn't do shit with it. As I cough and die. That's great podcasting right there. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think I'm okay now.
Well, all right, everybody. That is the end for Dave and Floyd. Remember, life in the real world is very much a work. Remember to kick out at 2. We'll see you next time around the ring.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view and believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Bam! Woo!
This sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? It's for charity.